Hey YouTube, welcome back. Old Man Seth is back with another Path of Exile 2 video, and today we're going to be talking about some of the things I wish I would have knew as a brand new Path of Exile 2 player. So let's go ahead and dive on in. All right guys, so first things first, something you may not be familiar with if you're kind of new to the ARPG genre or just Path of Exile itself is going to be the stash. Stash is a very cool tool for you as you continue to make your way through the game, in the sense that you can save items on your current class that you might want to use later, or for other characters as you make progress through the game. Now, I'm going to go ahead and open up my stash and kind of show you what I'm talking about. So right now I am running a monk, right? And this is the stash for my monk, or actually, as you would probably want to think about it, your entire account. So one of the cool things about the game is if you do find items that you don't necessarily find useful on the current character you're running, you can always shove them in here and use them on another character when you decide to roll them up. In this instance, I have a bunch of archer stuff because I know I want to run a ranger eventually as a non-hardcore character. Keeping these aside, basically what you can do is when you fire up these new characters and get them to the town area, you can immediately access the stash and start equipping them to make them a little bit more powerful right from the jump. Now, this also includes things like the health and mana flash that you'll find throughout the game. You're also going to be able to use some of the different skill gems that you pick up as you develop your characters and start using these gems to get new skills. Not to mention, sometimes you can give characters that are too low a level to find them in their current run. For example, a level 3 skill gem you may not be able to find until a little bit later on, even if your level dictates you being able to use those skills. If you can grab one of the skill gems from your other characters that you've put in this stash, you can unlock those abilities maybe a little bit earlier than you did on a previous run. So all in all, this is something I didn't really know at first until I started opening up other characters, and I looked at it and I was kind of surprised to see that the stash was available right from the jump to those characters and all the things that I stuffed in there. I want you to be a little bit ahead of the game and be able to make sure that when you run subsequent, tunes, you're going to have a little bit easier of a time. So leaning into the stash portion of what I was just talking about, this is the second thing I wish I would have known as I started this game. In the early part of the game, you're going to start finding equipment that has these item slots, or these slots you can put other gems in, essentially. These are the different gems I'm talking about, these runes. These are going to power you up, give you resistances, make your weapons more powerful, whatever, it doesn't matter. If you find these and you know you're not going to use them, do not sell them right away. When you first start the game, you are going to be in this town area and you are not going to see the salvage bench. The salvage bench is very important as you progress through the game, and it's something you're going to utilize quite a bit. Now, the items that I'm showing you right now, this fur plate and this bow, you can see that they not only have those rune slots, but this one is a superior advanced short bow. Now, what that superior dictates, and you're going to find that on any item, it can be armor, it can be weapons, it can even be potions, which I'm going to show you right here. It can be like this mana flask has quality. When you see something that says superior, be it a mana flask, a health flask, a weapon, or a piece of armor, it's going to say superior blah blah blah. Save those. If you're in early game and you still haven't gotten the salvage bench, or you have no idea what the salvage bench is, save these. They are going to save your life, because I'm going to show you right now why this is so important. When you walk over to the salvage bench, it's going to tell you salvage equipment or items with quality or sockets. If you save some of those that you may have found in the very early part of the game, you're going to be able to do this. You're only going to be able to open this up, I want to say, about 2/3 of the way through the very first act. So if you have found some of these items and you just sold them, that's really unfortunate, because you've already put yourself behind a little bit. You can't do them on potions yet. This was something that they instituted in Path of Exile 1. You could eventually break down potions with quality, so if you do find these, save those, because as they continue to develop the game, you're probably going to be able to break them down and put them on other potions you find more useful. But the armor and the weapons both are ones that you can do. So you just take it over here, click, click, and not only did that bow give us one of the artificer shards, but it also gave us 4 blacksmith whetstones. The reason these are very important is because what you can do with these whetstones is, when I first found this staff, for example, it had no quality. You can use those whetstones on the weapons that you found that are really awesome and have no quality to give them quality. And what that does is gives them more damage. And it's the same thing with armor. This armor had no quality when I first got it, and that's what you're going to use. The companion to the blacksmith's whetstone, armor or scrap. Armor or scrap is what's going to help you increase the quality of your pieces of armor. And again, as you make your way through the game, these are super important. It's what makes you become more powerful and keeps you ahead of the power curve. Putting the quality on weapons and armor increases their, in this case, evasion rating and energy shield ratings, On other pieces of armor, it'll be, again, either armor or whatever combination you're going to find on those pieces of armor. As a brand new player, save those in the early game. It will help you a ton as you make your way through the game. The third thing I wish I would have known when I first started Path of Exile is when you start finding your skill gems and you start opening up new abilities, you don't have to strictly take the ones that they're offering you straight from the jump. To show you what I mean, if I hit this uncut skill gem, and when you start playing this game, you will be familiar with this, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. When you click on it, it gives you everything for the quarterstaff. Obviously, there's all those tabs over there. A lot of the time, not only myself, but I've seen other people do this as well, they don't even look at anything else. And sometimes, some of these abilities will actually help you. On the monk build I'm currently running, I'm generating an ability that would allow me to use some of the mace abilities, for example. One thing in particular is the Infernal Cry. The Infernal Cry requires endurance charges to actually use. Or it doesn't require it, but it gets better if you have endurance charges. And my monk currently can produce endurance charges to make this ability better. When you start making your way through the game, don't be afraid to continue to look at the different skills of the different weapons, because sometimes you may actually be able to use them on your current build. Another good example of this is when you start getting your passives from Spirit. Now, this is something you're not going to find until a little bit more through Act 1, a little bit closer to the end, but you're going to find your very first Spirit gem. When you right click on those, it's going to start giving you these really cool passives that you power with Spirit. With the monk, for example, these are the ones that they offer me. What I have found as time has gone on is that my passives currently are all generated from different classes. Grim Feast is a witch ability. Combat Frenzy is a ranger ability. Wind Dancer is a ranger ability. As long as you have the stats to power them, you can use them. As you progress, take a look at these different class abilities that they're offering here, and you can kind of decide if something works better for your build as you continue to experiment. Now, this is more advanced thinking, but I didn't know about this when I first started playing the game. This is something that is very important to keep in mind as you make your way through Path of Exile 2. Now, the fourth thing I wish I would have known about when I first started this game and have started to experiment is support gems. Support gems are a huge deal. Since we just got done talking about skills, support gems are what's going to make those skills even better. When you right click on something, you'll see as you hit the different skills, they're going to suggest, okay, use this, use that. Falling Thunder, we suggest these. Fun fact, if you aren't as attentive as, let's say, most people like me, you can unclick this down here to hit show recommended gems, and then you have access to all of them. And if it's lit up, it can affect the ability you currently have highlighted. Falling Thunder, for example, all of this can probably affect it. Hit Storm Wave, it's going to change it, and you're going to see everything kind of changed around. These are the different support gems that are going to be able to affect it. Think a little bit more about what you're building, what you would like to do, and don't be afraid to check these out even in the beginning, because sometimes there are just better ones than what they're offering. For example, with Tempest Spell, I currently have Expanse, Rage, and Magnified Effect. Now, I only have one of those actually from the recommended list. And it took me a little while to realize that if you do that, it will open up your build quite a bit. So don't be afraid to experiment. Sure, you can take the recommended ones if you're first jumping in like I did, and it will be pretty okay. But as you become more comfortable and start to realize that there are different things you can do, it's definitely going to help you out to try and do some of this and figure out different ways to approach the problem. Now, here's another really cool thing I never even thought about or even noticed when I first started playing the game, and I wish I would have known, because it would have helped so much. If you do have one of these in your inventory, you can see right there on the left which one of the skills it can affect and which ones it can support. So if I were to throw the Inspiration Gem into Combat Frenzy, it's not going to work. If I throw it into Grim Feast, it's not going to work. If I throw it into Wind Dancer, it's not going to work. Those are our passives anyway. It does say, hey, look at all these other skills you can use. If you zoom in right there, you can see it has the green check marks. Okay, it'll work on here. It'll work on here. And this is another kind of way, a cheat to look at, okay, I made this support gem. Maybe I don't want it here anymore. Maybe I could use it somewhere else, and it'll show you exactly which skills it can support. And finally, the last thing I would have known when it comes to Path of Exile, this skill tree is not nearly as intimidating as it seems when you first look at it. Yes, you first open it up, and holy crap, is there so much here you don't know what to do with yourself. Don't bother yourself with too much of the tree until you get really advanced into the game. What you can think about, though, is when you start with a class, and in this case, I started with the monk, this was going to be my primarily where I live, right? Like, this is going to be a lot of very monk-focused abilities. The stuff you're going to find in the other parts of the tree that might help you are usually adjacent to that class currently in the current early access of the game. Right now, this is the witch area, and this is the ranger area. And you will find some skills in those areas that could help your monk. And those are the ones that you're probably going to focus on if you decide to go outside of the monk tree. It's very, very unlikely you're going to get over here into the warrior, the mercenary, or the sorceress. There's just no complementary abilities over there, or at least there's not many. If you're wondering how you might be able to dumb this down, let's say you first start out and you say, okay, cool, man, I know I'm gonna go attack damage. I want attack damage from my monk. If you're looking for more attack damage as time goes on, just remember there's a search function. The search function is very important, and I completely overlooked this when I first started the game. So all you have to do is hit attack, and what you can see already in the background before I even zoom in is that some of these nodes are currently lighting up. Even the ones that we've already lit up. See, you can see over here. You can see they're glowing. This attack damage, that attack damage. This is more attack. Like, it has attack in the notifier, but this is attack speed. What you can do, zoom back out and then look around. You'll see the glowing. Okay, there's attack damage. There's attack damage. Go over here. There's some more glowing. What do we have over here? Okay, that says unarmed attack. So this isn't something that we want, but at least you know this isn't something you're looking for. You're not going to have to go over every one of these nodes and see, okay, which one of these do I want? Which one of these do I not want? Put in the search term that you want to use when you're out in here, and it's going to help you so much. And I did not know about this the first few hours I was playing this game until somebody in my Twitch chat actually said, hey, you can search, because I was completely overlooking it. And damn, do I wish I would have known about it earlier, because it would have taken a lot of the stress of looking at this bad boy away. If we page down here to the ranger, you can see that there are some skills lit up as we have the attack and the search. So let's go ahead and take a look. Ah, there it is, attack speed. So there you go, attack speed, attack speed. So we know that there could be some attack speed down there we could maybe branch into if it made sense. Now over here, we're seeing some more glowies, and we're going to see what those are. So increased attack speed and dexterity, increased attack speed and dexterity, increased attack speed and dexterity. 1% increased attack speed per 15 dexterity. This could actually be something that we build to as a monk. Our monk has a lot of dexterity. We're currently at 96. That would put us about 9% more attack speed on our monk currently, based off of getting that skill if we decided to build towards it. Taking a look at all of these and putting in that search function will help you, and it will give you a better idea of what you might be able to build toward, even outside what is currently your skill area. There's really nothing attack oriented up in the witch. It just looks like, what do we have here? Attack and cast speed, but that's only on minions. That's not going to affect our monk. Use that search function. It's huge. It's very, very big. The last thing I wish I would have known when I started Path of Exile, because they don't tell you this in the damn tutorial, and this feels like it's one of the most important things you can actually have at your disposal as a beginner of this game: the alt button. The alt button on your keyboard. That's it. Few different reasons for that, and we're going to look at them right now. So if we go over to our equipment here, you can see, all right, this is all your equipment. This is like it's showing, okay, this is all the damage we're doing. Hit the alt button. Now you get to see all the really cool values that come along with that. If you're a big numbers nerd, like a lot of people who play this game are, I'm not really, but it still helps me. And it also shows you what tier it is. If you can look at right there, it shows that the lightning damage is a tier 3. The increased elemental damage with attacks is a tier 3. The mana gain is a tier 4. If you go over here and look at our current set of armor, you can see that there's a tier 4. The maximum life of 115 is tier 8. So all of these different additives that go on your weapons and armor as you find them, whether they're rare or magic, they all have different tiers, and they all give you better and better bonuses the higher they get. If you look at their fire resistance, it's only a tier 1. That means it only had a 6 to a 10% chance when it rolled the item, and unfortunately we got the low end on a 7. As you can see with the cold resistance, when you get up to tier 5, that resistance could be all the way to 26 or 30%. Same with the lightning resistance. And this is really important as time goes on, because you can kind of figure out, okay, I probably need to replace this item now because it's kind of outlived its usefulness. I should be looking for something better, since things do get progressively harder and harder in Path of Exile 2. Now, another important way to use alt is with skills. If you are over a skill when you're looking at it, you can't really, okay, I want to try to look at what's third and fourth strike do? I don't know what third and fourth strike do. Hold down your alt button, it will stay there, and you can see everything that happens on the subsequent tabs in one of these skills, and they never tell you about this initially in the game. And I had no idea how to do it. I've had people tell me they had no idea how to do it, and I help them with it. And this is just a way to take a look at all that. And if you're wondering what any of this means, like, what's lightning? This will allow you to go over the lightning as well. If I release Alt, it all goes away. If I go back over to the ability, hit Alt again, then we get all this back and we can start going over here with our mouse and doing this. Another way to do that, if you do not want to hold Alt the whole time, and I just found out about this right as I was making this video, I never noticed this fun little pin up here. Hit that pin. Now you can let go of Alt. I let go of Alt. No more Alt. Hands are up. And you can move that around, and now you can start actually looking at this. But that's the only way to do it. You're not going to be able to do it. If we close this down, we page back over this, okay, there's no pin. There's no way for us to actually see that. Hit your Alt button. And then hit that pin. But there you go. That's what you need to do with this kind of stuff. And I really wish I would have known that right away, because it would have made a lot more sense to me being like, okay, I just want to know what 3rd and 4th strike did. And I never knew. I had no idea whatsoever. You'll also find some really cool tooltips in some of this as well, and I'm going to show you one of those really quick right now before we end this video. So I'm going to go down here to Grim Feast. Grim Feast is that witch ability I told you guys that I picked up because it just makes a lot of sense on our monk. It allows us to overcharge our energy shield over there, that little blue bar. That's something you'll figure out if you're kind of brand new to the game and you haven't really experienced yet. The reason it's important to see this too, so I'm going to go ahead and use this, and there we go. It's pinned now. So like you can see what energy shield is. You can see what overflow is, and this is an important one. Overflow. So you know that the ability allows you to overcharge your shield, but how much? This actually tells you recovery, which overflows its maximum, can be recovered up to twice that maximum. So what's that saying? Let me just dumb it down for you. Basically, you can double whatever your current max is. So as of right now, take a look over here. My current energy shield is 882. What that means is we can overcharge it all the way to 1,764, if my off the top of my head math is right. You would never know that if you would have never looked at that. And fun fact, guys, I was streaming yesterday. I had somebody in chat ask me, how do you know that you can only double it? They didn't believe me. They had no idea. And that's the way I did. So that's it. The 5 things I wish I would have known before I dove into Path of Exile 2, and one little bonus one right there at the end. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you comment, subscribe, do all that, like it. Give me some feedback. If you have any questions about stuff you might want to know as a beginner, I'll try to help you out as best as I can. Or if you have anything to add, please put it below. Make sure that you guys come over to Twitch if you want sometimes as well, if you're interested in catching the live stream. I do live stream over here on YouTube, so you can always see it. If you do subscribe and hit your notifications, been playing a lot of Path of Exile too, been having a great time with it. If you want, hit the Discord. Discord's a good place to be. We talk about Path of Exile there in one of the threads that we have in our game talk. We have a guild going on. Everyone is welcome to join. We can talk shop, figure some things out, especially if you're a beginner. We have some seasoned veterans of Path of Exile 1 who have been instrumental in me progressing in this game. And you guys are all more than welcome to join us on that one. So thanks again for taking the time to watch this. I sincerely hope it helps you in your Path of Exile 2 journey. I'm going to get out of here. Big thanks to my patrons. You are amazing. All of my channel members, thank you very much as well. If you're liking what you've seen and you want to support the stream, consider actually becoming a channel member or being a patron. You can find some links below, where it's really easy to do the channel member thing right here from YouTube. Thanks very much again. See you on the next one, and good luck in Path of Exile 2.